All right, top 5 names to watch in college football in 2022. These are some guys that a little off the radar, a little not, but not the ones, you hear it a lot about, Bryce Young and Jackson Smith-Njigba and C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. I wanted to go through some names that are on the rise, some that have transferred into school, some that, you'll see because they're the next wave in college football. Number 5, Nolan Smith, linebacker at Georgia. This is a guy who had, 3.5 sacks last year, 10 tackles for loss, really good player, and now with 8 guys from his defense gone, has to be one of the leaders who steps up. Fantastic player, probably be Georgia's, second or third draft pick next year, and he's one that we're going to hear a lot about this year.
So what is this list again?
These are guys that are maybe not as talked about that are going to be stars, I think, in 2022.
Okay. He's probably going to be one. Ringo as well from that defense would be a good candidate.
Jalen Colbert, the defensive tackle again.
Yeah, all 11 of their starters, basically. It's the Georgia defense. So, they're going to be loaded again, and he'll be one of the headliners for sure.
Number 4, Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky. When was the last time we talked about a quarterback from Kentucky being a potential first-round draft pick next year? But he's a guy who had a great season. Mark Stoops continued to do a great job this last year. Now he loses Wan'Dale Robinson, his best wide receiver, best playmaker, drafted by the Giants, but they only had 3 losses, Kentucky, last year. This is a team who, returning their starting quarterback, I think can continue to make a lot of noise, especially if he can repeat the performance he had last year and even just slightly improve on it.
Yeah, it's been impressive what Stoops has done there. That's not a program that I really paid too much attention to. Outside of just they're on TV or there's their score on the bottom of the screen, but not a program I actively seek out watching if it's not basketball. But they have become that over the last couple of years in particular. A program that definitely has a solid foundation, has a good staff, and is producing some NFL guys as well. So it's been tremendous to see what they've been doing there. And he's obviously going to be overshadowed by some other guys in that conference in particular, and even some quarterbacks nationally, but he's definitely one of the guys to look out for next year.
Yeah. Number 3, Braelon Allen, running back, Wisconsin. I think this is going to be this year's Kenneth Walker. He had a slow start last year, closed the year pretty well, but I think this guy is going to be the Kenneth Walker of the Big Ten this year, where he's going to have a big season. Again, Wisconsin's going to lean heavy on the run, as they always do. This is a big, bruising, classic Wisconsin back. I think you're going to see a lot from him, a lot of time in the end zone for Braelon Allen.
Wow, Wisconsin running back. That's a bold guess there, Paul. The guy will be effective. Yeah, no, he had a monster season last year. Big numbers, and I would imagine he'll have even bigger numbers, which is kind of hard to imagine. What's he going to have, 18 touchdowns or 16 touchdowns? He's going to run for 2,500 yards. I already had, like I said, great production. But, Wisconsin and whoever's next up at running back is usually a safe choice.
Yeah. But probably not as talked about because Wisconsin had such an up and down year last year.
Yeah, I know they had with the quarterback issues in the beginning, and but they closed pretty strong. Yeah. And he's not next up as in, like brand new. Obviously, he's played a bunch, but just next up as far as
overshadowed by other guys in this conference.
Sure,
too, so, yeah. Number 2, a guy you've talked about a lot, Craig, Isaiah Neyor at Texas. Look, he is. He's going to be overshadowed. Bijan Robinson, Xavier Worthy, and of course Quinn Ewers and all that of people on that offense. But he's one who. He has a ton of production transferring in, and I think a great fit for what Sark wants to do on offense. And depending on who the quarterback is, it's probably Quinn Ewers. But
there's no way it's not. There's no way it's not Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, and if it's not Quinn Ewers,
the only thing would be, and I don't even want to mention it, would be a medical thing, and I don't even want to wish that on anybody. No. That's the only way he's not the starting quarterback. I just can't imagine another scenario where he's not the starting quarterback.
Yeah, you don't go out and do what you did to get that guy. But I think because of all the other weapons they have on offense, we're going to say Isaiah Neyor's name a lot, and probably more of the possession receiver, even though he's a big play guy, but can go get some stuff.
He can pretty much do whatever. Yeah. 12 touchdowns last year. I watched him quite a bit, or at least followed him quite a bit because he played at Wyoming, but he's from Texas originally. So with the Earl Campbell Award, I pay attention to all the Texas guys around college football and offense, and especially the skill guys. And he was certainly one of the highlights last year. I figured he was probably going to end up in the transfer portal because of the year that he had, and sure enough, he did, and was committed to Tennessee, I believe, originally, and then flipped to Texas. But yeah, I like that pickup a lot. I don't know if there's even anything other than really rumors about Jordan Addison. I understand the coaching tie-ins with UT, but I don't know if that's like wishful thinking or if that's actually something they're pursuing. But when you've already gone out and gotten Ajayi Hall and Neyor, and you've got Xavier Worthy, and I know there's others. I think he's going to be a big part of what they do. And I don't know, again, like the Addison thing, is that even realistic? But even if it's not and it's just chatter, I think that Neyor is going to be definitely a big part of what they do one way or the other. If
I were Addison in Texas might be like the Cowboys, just float him out there.
Like, I don't even know what to think of it, because there is a realistic connection there with the staff, but I don't know how much sense it makes. I mean, yeah, you'd add him if you could, but like, is there actually any, is it just talk on Twitter, or is there actually smoke to it? That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not plugged into them, but either way, Neyor is going to be a big part of what they do.
Yeah. And number 1, Hendon Hooker, quarterback at Tennessee. This is a guy who, I think, 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions last year in Josh Heupel's offense, has brought some hope back to the Vols. And of course, probably limited time there, since apparently they're paying $8 million for their recruit, which means to me $8 million he starts in the first year. But that's what they may be doing at Tennessee. But Hendon Hooker had a great year last year and made Tennessee fun to watch for the first time in a long time. And a lot of that has to do with Josh Heupel and them actually, hiring an AD and Danny White, who knows what he's doing. So, but yeah, I think Hendon Hooker is going to be a name we talk a lot about. And an SEC East that's still not wide open. Georgia's still going to dominate it, and Florida, we'll see what they do with the first year under Billy Napier. But I do think that Tennessee could certainly make some strides in year 2 under Josh Heupel. Yeah,
he was a good player. They got a lot of buzz right now, as far as the schools who, are getting, I guess, the most off-season buzz. They would be one of them, I think. Texas Tech would be one of them as well, since we just talked to Joey. And there's a few others, of course. But, no, I mean, there is belief there now, like you said, and there hasn't been that for quite some time. Heupel, so far, on the surface, appears to be a pretty good hire. I'm not really surprised by that. I think he's proven his chops, and time will tell in the long run. That SEC East now with Napier, I think him getting Florida back into contention does make that a lot more interesting for everybody, including Georgia. But they're the top dog; they'll be the ones that everybody's chasing, and rightfully so. But I'm very curious to see how Tennessee, through the portal, through recruiting, and through just another year with Heupel will turn out. But they got a good quarterback to start things off with.
And look, if you look at the SEC East and the ability to ramp up facilities and NIL and all that quickly, the money outside of Georgia is at Tennessee and Florida. So those two schools are the ones. I mean, it's not going to come from South Carolina, even though they've got Spencer Rattler. I mean, they'll probably be better, but it's not going to come from
better be.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it's not going to come from Vanderbilt. Like, it's going to come from Tennessee or Florida. So look, as good as Kentucky's played, it's probably not going to come from them either to put pressure on Georgia.
Not if you football.
If you want to knock somebody off the crown in the SEC East, it's got to be Tennessee or Florida who has to do that in Georgia. All right.